look at it. It gets, ooh.
Mama. Hey guys, welcome to Glowing Strong. I'm Katie.
I'm Nicole.
I'm the daughter.
And I'm the mom. Okay, so today we're gonna have like a beginner's tutorial for eyeshadow. Kind of like an eyeshadow 101 for beginners.
So ready or not,
Here we go.
Okay, so first we're going to be talking about types of eyeshadows. And we have 6 different kinds.
Yep, 6 basic types of eyeshadows that eyeshadows can come in.
The first type is baked eyeshadow.
Then we've got our typical pressed eyeshadows.
Then we have a cream eyeshadow, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's just a cream.
Next type we have is kind of like it's a hybrid, in my opinion. I don't even know what to call it. It's like the ColourPop Super Shocker eyeshadow. It's kind of moist and creamy, but it's also kind of powdery. So it's like a hybrid eyeshadow to me.
Then we have a liquid eyeshadow.
And we also have your loose pigment eyeshadows.
Okay, so now we're going to be talking about the best applications of these products. We'll start with the baked eyeshadow. With the baked eyeshadow, you have to keep in mind that they're not quite as pigmented as typical pressed pan shadows.
There tends to be a little bit more fallout with the baked eyeshadow also.
Not too, yeah.
In my opinion. They are a little more powdery, and you've got to watch out for the fallout underneath your eye when you apply them.
Yes.
I think baked eyeshadows tend to come in shimmery shades more than anything, right?
Yeah, at least for this palette, this one has a good variety.
I mean, I think that's just kind of a trend with baked eyeshadows
Yeah.
that I've noticed, though. They're more shimmery usually.
I don't use baked shadows a whole bunch, so.
Okay, and now we're going to talk about pressed eyeshadows, which in our opinion would probably be the best option for a beginner. They tend to blend out better, there's less fallout, and in general, they're just easier to work with. This would be an example of pressed eyeshadows. These are loose individual pans, and this would be a small palette.
Okay, the next one is a cream eyeshadow. This one is by e.l.f. and Poppin' Party.
Poppin' Party.
Now, the thing about cream eyeshadows is that, first off, they're not quite as easy to work with as like baked or pressed, because obviously they're a cream. They also have a tendency to not always dry down. I mean, they're pretty, but you have to keep that in mind. Like, this is what this one looks like.
That is pretty.
Yeah, I don't wear it a whole bunch.
It looks so different than in the pot.
It's a lot darker, as you can see this one at least. This one looks like it's a metallic. It's very pretty, of course. They also seem to be pigmented, so you have to be careful when you use them, because you saw that I just took a little bit and it went such a long way. So definitely make sure just to do a little bit at first.
Okay, next we're going to talk about the hybrid eyeshadow, the ColourPop Super Shock. Does anybody else make an eyeshadow that's similar to the Super Shock?
Not that I know of. Not that I've tried, at least.
I feel like Maybelline almost tried to with their city palettes, but it didn't quite work out. You know what I mean?
I haven't really used this palette a whole bunch.
Right. So I think this is also one of the easier ones to work with. They are really creamy. Ooh, this is so shiny. It's really creamy, and they tend to blend out super easily. And then they dry down to a powder. See? Gosh, that's pretty.
I haven't used that one very much, but it's very sparkly. Okay, so the next one we're going to be talking about is a liquid. And in my opinion, this is the hardest to work with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's be honest, since it's a liquid, it's probably going to crease a lot, since you're not even setting it, really. Let me swatch this for you. Personally, I don't like this one. It's by e.l.f. It just is too streaky. But this is the only one I've worked with. That's what it looks like. It's a pretty color, but liquids are not easy to work with, so you have to work in small amounts and blend it.
And honestly, even sometimes some liquids, they won't layer properly.
Yeah.
Like if you put a layer on and then try to go back and build the color a little more, it'll like almost take off the last layer that you put on. So And they dry so quickly sometimes that you can't really blend it out. And
yeah, because these do dry very quickly. This one's pretty much dry now.
yeah, and
So
once
you
it's
don't-
dry, you cannot blend it. So
Yeah.
they're a little tricky sometimes. Okay, so the next one we're going to talk about is the loose eyeshadows, which are pretty difficult to work with also if you don't know what you're doing. You have to be really careful of fallout and over pigmenting, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And they can be a little tricky to blend and get the look that you're wanting also. Two of my favorite loose eyeshadow brands would be the Shiro
Something like that.
Cosmetics. And I really like the Wet n Wild Color Icon loose pigments. I find that they blend out pretty easily.
Oh.
I like that.
I haven't used them very much.
Okay, and loose eyeshadows will come with a sifter, usually. And this is the Wet n Wild Color Icon. It's really kind of hard to see, but there's a metallic sheen there.
We can see it.
Okay. Okay, and here is the Shiro Cosmetics. If you start out small and you build with the loose eyeshadows, it's not as scary, but I tend to pack them on with a flat brush, which can make it kind of scary sometimes when you see the initial application, because you're like, oh gosh, I really put too much. So
Okay, so now we're going to be talking about finding your shade. I have green eyes, so what I would suggest for green eyes is that purple goes really well with green eyes. Browns and golds really make your eyes pop. Deep reds like maroon and things like that.
yeah, absolutely. I have brown eyes. I think honestly, I'm one of the lucky ones. Pretty much all eyeshadow colors go well with brown eyes. Blues, purples, golds. I really like champagne type colors. I think the only shadow color that I try to avoid is more of the redder colors, and that's just because I have such a pale complexion with pink undertones that I feel like the red eyeshadows tend to emphasize that and bring that out. So for hazel eyes, I think browns, champagnes, golds, violets, those look really good.
For blue eyes, I would suggest like champagne colors and browns, just natural colors.
Maybe some gray also.
Yeah, gray would look really good on blue eyes.
Okay, so I think Katie's going to go for a more natural shadow look and show you how to apply with pressed powders. I'm going to be doing a bit more of a vibrant look. I'm going to use a liquid eyeshadow plus a couple of pressed powders for the crease to blend that out.
Okay, the shade that I'm going to be starting with first is just a transparent white shade. This is just going to even everything out, make the colors a lot more blendable, and just put it all over the lid.
Kind of gives you a smooth surface to work with.
Yeah.
Yep. Alright, and I'm going to start with, I'm actually going to start with the liquid.
Fancy.
Alright, here we go. I'm using the Revlon Photo Ready Eye Art in the shade Lilac Luster.
I did this shade over here. Now I'm going to go in with this shade as a transition. And this is just going to be right on the crease area. And this is going to help all the colors that you put on just blend together so it has a nice base too. I would suggest doing a crease, I would suggest doing a transition on all eye looks. It doesn't matter what kind.
Absolutely. Makes it not so harsh.
Yeah.
Not a lot of edges there. Okay, so I'm going to put on the liquid eyeshadow all over my eye. And up towards the top edge, I'm going to blend it out with my finger a little bit so that it's not so harsh looking.
Okay, so now I have my transition shade on. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with a darker shade to deepen the crease. And I think I'm actually going to go in with this shade, and I'm just going to build up. A tip that I would suggest is you need to work in light layers. Don't just put a huge glop on and try to blend that out.
Oh,
you need to build it up.
That's especially important for beginners.
Yes. And I'm just going to put it out here and blend it up into the crease right there.
Okay, and now just let it dry. Because if you try to do anything else before it dries, then you're going to end up with a big mess.
So, if you're a beginner and you're rolling some...
Rolling. Rolling.
Shut up! So if you're a beginner and you're just wanting something really basic, then I would stop here. This is what it looks like as far as the crease shade. You're still going to put something on the lid, but as far as the crease, you can just go ahead and stop here. If you're wanting to, I'm going to go on just a little bit more and deepen the outer corner right there. But if you're a beginner, you can just leave it there and do your lid shade.
Okay, and now I'm going to take a little bit of the lighter gray shade in this palette and put it in the crease to add a bit of a transition. I'm putting it over the liquid eyeshadow because if I put it under, it would have just taken it off, basically.
I'm going to go in with this dark brown shade right here, just on the outer corner.
Okay, so I put a little bit of the gray eyeshadow in the crease to make a bit of a transition there so that it's not a harsh edge of purple, basically. And now I'm going to take some this shade and put it towards the inner corner a little bit to lighten it up.
So now I think I'm going to go in with this shimmery shade over here, and I'm just going to put that right on the lid here. You can do this with like a flat brush or even your finger. I like to apply shimmers with my finger sometimes because it just makes them pop.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a lot more color payoff when you use your finger. And this is what it looks like.
So now I have that shade on right here. When you do put that lid shade on, you need to make sure that it's not harsh against the crease. You need to take your brush and blend out the edges so it's not super harsh. Now you can stop here. If you're wanting to go a little bit more bold, you can even take a dark shade and bring it under the lash line right there. I do that sometimes. Or you can do an inner corner highlight right on here. I'm not going to do that right now, but if you're just wanting something a little bit fancier, then you can add that in. And this is the finished look. I'm obviously not wearing mascara or anything, but this is what it looks like as far as the eyeshadow goes. I can see again. So thanks for watching our video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let us know what you want to see. Are there any more beginners tutorials you want to see, like foundations, anything? We'd be open to trying that because this one was fun.
Absolutely. And if you have any questions about this tutorial, be sure to let us know. Thanks for watching.
Adios.
Amiga.